what happens is I'm looking at all these websites and I'm like, I don't like them. I don't think they're honest and they're not personalized to what I want. I have like a very specific use case for myself. Maybe I want like a big promotion when I'm joining the bank. Maybe I want good interest rates on the cash that I'm going to have in there. Like there are a lot of different like properties that I need in a specific bank. So I thought about it and I'm like, we're in the age of freaking OpenAI and LLMs. Let's kind of smash them together and create the next top 10 website that's 10 times better. Hi everyone, my name is Agam. This is Tom. We're both developers turned into marketeers. And today we have this interesting concept, but before we start and explain this concept and how you can actually make a business out of it, we need to talk about how top 10 websites work. So Tom, it's your stage.
Sure. So anything that has a top X on it on the web is a commercial thing. Every single thing. So everyone who ever published a top 10 article on the web has commercial intent. They're trying to sell you something.
I'll show you an example. So we have like this website, this top 10 best web hosting services. So how does it actually work out? Like what's going on here?
So
you see all these
top 10 list here. You look at the top 10 list here, and specifically our most popular one. The reason why this site is the most popular one and supposedly their features are the best is not only because Bluehost is a great service. By the way, I'm a user, but it's not only because they're the best web hosting service in the world, but because they're the highest paying thing out there apparently for web hosting companies. Essentially, people who promote the Bluehost web hosting service in comparison to other web hosting services make the most money out of Bluehost. And all of those top 10 websites make money in one of a variety of ways. One of which is affiliate commissions. Every time somebody clicks on their link and pays eventually on the host website, the person who sent the click gets paid. Sometimes it's a direct sponsorship. They actually will pay for that listing in the top 10. And again, a bunch of various schemes of how these top 10 sites make money. But the core intention is always the same. You make money by placing the person or the company that pays you the most on top. Now, what really interesting about this is that those experiences are not super personalized. They're more generic. Basically, the highest paying entity gets the highest paying location. And Agam has a very cool idea that might flip this entirely on its head.
Yeah, it's kind of like 2.0. But before that, I just want to show you some numbers about this market. So one of the big players is called Natural Intelligence. And this is the Wikipedia, okay? They were bootstrapped, which is pretty cool. And they reported over $500 million in revenue in 2021, meaning that already 2 years passed since then, and they're probably doing a lot more money right now. So this is a big market, and it's a lot of paid stuff going on under the hood. You're thinking that you're seeing, honest top 10 website, but it's probably not that case. So this is my story.
Let me just kind of point something out about Natural Intelligence. Natural Intelligence is a company that's based where I'm from. I actually know the company pretty well. And they are very notorious, not notorious, but reputable for essentially taking a lot of very young and inexperienced people, walking them through the realms of SEO, and then creating a massive machine out of it. They are an SEO machine. They really perfected the business. Unlike, they're the only company I know of in that scale that do that for the normal kind of e-commerce market. And they do an amazing work of kind of commoditizing or like processizing this whole thing into a really money-making machine. So sorry, go ahead, Agam.
At the end of this, I want to talk about what I see for Natural Intelligence. Like if I was the CEO, what I would think about this area, because I think they're in a very pivotal place right now with all this AI search. But let's put that to the end. So my idea is this. I'm probably going to move to Texas or the US or somewhere in the US, and I'm looking to open a bank. And what happens is I'm searching on Google, and what I find is all these top 10 websites. And
To clarify, because it might not be obvious, Agam is not intending on opening a bank, but a bank account. If Agam was opening a bank, that would be a completely different discussion. He would not be Googling that. Please don't Google how to open a bank if you have an intention of opening a bank. Talk to people who've opened a bank in the past. But
thanks, Tom, for making sure that all our viewers know that you think they have low IQ. Anyways, so what happens is I'm looking at all these websites, and I'm like, I don't like them. I don't think they're honest, and they're not personalized to what I want. I have like a very specific use case for myself. Maybe I want like a big promotion when I'm joining the bank. Maybe I want good interest rates on the cash that I'm going to have in there. Like there are a lot of different like properties that I need in a specific bank. So I thought about it and I'm like, we're in the age of freaking OpenAI and LLMs. Let's kind of smash them together and create the next top 10 website that's 10 times better. And the idea is basically this. Imagine that you go into a website that's like thebestbankforyou.com or something like that, and you write a paragraph about your situation. So I would say, I'm relocating from here to here. This is my currency. I want a lot of promotion. I want good customer reviews. I want a good mobile app, and I want no fees, for example. So this already filters out a lot of banks that won't provide me that. And the thing that we can do is to create a database of these accounts in different banks and put them into OpenAI and add my needs and specifications to that query. And then the LLM will generate, this bank is very good for you. This is the second best bank for you. This is the third one. So I would get like this top 10 list that's personalized for me. That's the basic idea. We're going to go around and spin it. I think this is a concept that you can use not only for banks, right? You can do this for cell phone providers, for internet providers, for bags, for whatever. All these top 10 websites, I think they're going to transform to something like this. I think this is a concept and not a specific business idea, which is what we're kind of looking for, right, Tom?
Yes, exactly. I think this is more of a family of ideas relevant to anybody who will have a niche that they want to work in, and that's how we would do it if we were them. A couple of comments about this whole idea before we jump into the technicalities of it. I feel as if currently it relies heavily on SEO in a sense. So the current market, not your idea, but the current market relies on Google search impressions and people who know how to game the SEO game. Most of the people I know, and Agam and myself are included, believe that Google search is going to decline in popularity over time. We believe its impact is going to be a lot less significant than it used to be. And this idea is kind of a protective vest around it. Essentially, it's a way of creating value without relying completely on search.
The cool thing here, you're touching upon something very interesting. What Tom is basically saying is, in an age where you're going to type a question and you're going to have a chatbot with Google, you won't click on links like you're used to nowadays. So you're going to lose a lot of that traffic that people actually click on a link and go to your website. The cool thing about this idea is that you're creating a protective shield that people will still want to come to your website, a protective shield around your traffic. That's what I mean. So Google could not replicate your own chat-based interface, right? They can maybe extract data. They can maybe show a video. They can maybe show a picture, but they cannot take your LLM that you specifically built for the top 10 best banks for you, right? It's a conversational UI. It's very hard to move that. So people will have to click on your link and they'll have to go to your website. So that's one thing that's kind of interesting in that regard. I do want to talk about who can build this and talk a bit about the technicalities. So I think this is something you don't need to be a developer nowadays to do. What you need is basic understanding on how to use ChatGPT and basic understanding on how to create a website. Recently, Wix started doing like a website builder that you just write what your website is about and it generates it. Maybe Tom can share the screen and show us. The second one I would use is maybe like something like Webflow. But basically, you want a website, you want to add some content to it, so search engines would index it, but then you want to add a form. And this can be no code, right? You can use something like Retool. They just added like this external apps feature. So you add that to OpenAI, which is very easy with Retool. And you basically have a VA or yourself work and start to distill the information on all these banks, for example. Let's say you're doing the bank thing. So you're going into each bank page, you're taking all of the important information in text form and adding that to the OpenAI request you're going to make. Then you add to that the user's needs, and then it will just generate a response that's personalized. That's it. It's a very simple project. You can use VAs, you can use yourself. You don't need to be a developer nowadays to do something like this. I think this could be very cool because you can replicate different industries. Tom?
Correct. And I'm going to just kind of open up the website for Wix ADI, which is the tool that Agam just mentioned. I want to mention that it's actually a relatively veteran tool. it's been around for a while. It's not like that new. It has been like it was recently launched and kind of recently talked about, but the first time this has been launched by Wix, supposedly, is 2016. So they've been doing that since 2016, but I don't know how like popular it was, but it has been kind of going on for a while. Why am I saying that? The concept of using artificial intelligence and like machine learning stuff to generate sites is not new, but it is important that you understand that the recent wave has brought with it many tools that kind of make this easier. So let's jump ahead to kind of grow.
Just to wrap it up, you can DM Tom or me if you want to build something like this. We'll help you for free. It's something that we're very interested in. But let's actually think about the growth, right? So building this is kind of very doable. I wouldn't say easy, but a lot easier than a few years back. But the thing here, and I'm not totally sure about it, is how do you actually make this grow, right, Tom? Because this is an app you interact with. So what is the play here? Is it an SEO play? Is it something else? Like, how do you see this thing?
Yeah, so I think it's a two-tiered approach. So I would, by kind of, now that Google search is still like strong, I'll bring people in by utilizing the artificial intelligence like things to create programmatic SEO websites. So I will create a lot of pages based on the topics that are relevant to me. But after that, you need to think more about like traditional marketing. So instead of relying on search, either paid or organic, because as soon as organic declines, paid is also going to become much more expensive and or unreliable, I believe. But the core idea is you want to drive traffic organically to the product and then have people inside the product either create the content for you by utilizing the product or kind of spread the word of mouth about that product to other people. And I want to give two examples. The first one is how to drive people into the tool. Let's take another example, which is I'm looking for a software product that helps me track my assignments, like a project management. And I have very specific requirements, and I want it to be integrated with Slack, but not to like expose security-wise and have an Android application, but I don't care. I have an iOS application, and the interface should have like also a desktop version, but a browser mobile-friendly version. I have a bunch of different requirements. So I want to have these requirements set into the process. How would I find such a tool? So the listicles that we just talked about are going to go away, right? And I want to make sure that I can reach that tool somehow. I think this is old school, like an old school cold outreach thing. I don't know yet how to build growth for that. It is completely inbound in a world without search. To be honest, I'm not sure. If I were to build something like that, I would spread the word directly and then rely on people to spread the knowledge between them. And that's where the second part comes in, which is how I would get people to spread the word about it. So let's assume that I have reached this tool now and I have created a query and then generated a page form, right? I would probably want to share it in some way, either the capability of doing that or the actual outcome with people. So what I suggest is whenever somebody runs a query, you do two things. First of all, you create a static page out of it, which can later on be utilized in search and paid and whatever other avenues you have. But also, for the topmost recommendation, you create some sort of incentive for the user to share it. Example, if I reached a top, like, I don't know, let's say Jira. Let's say the tool suggested I would use Jira, which is a project management software, for my needs. Then if I generate a page using this tool, where Jira is the top candidate on the page, I get a special coupon code that I can share with only 2 people that will give them 30% off the first 3 months in Jira. That coupon code is completely isolated from the rest of the users of the tool. It's only available for the person who generated the specific query for which Jira is the highest ranking product. Why? The company behind it, because it matches specifically the requirements of the user, is much more likely to have a high retention rate from the user. They're much more likely to have a recurring payment from that user. So the company is probably willing to spend more money upfront, which is by discounting, essentially, you're spending more money to acquire the customer. So they will be willing to spend more money to acquire the customer because of a higher value, higher lifetime value for the customer. So to conclude, in order to draw people in, I will start by doing outreach and kind of making sure that the tool has great product UX and stuff, and using a product hunt or something like that to kind of promote it to the people who like it. But I would were like early adopters. But I would rely on the tool's UGC, user-generated content, to actually draw more people in by referral. So that's the core way.
One note to take with this referral thing, especially if you do like static pages and stuff like that, make sure to remove PII, personal information, right? If you're caching this thing, you don't want anyone to have their whatever personal phones, emails, locations, whatever it is out there in the wild. So I would take care of that. I like the word of mouth referral kind of idea because it's so personalized. You probably know a few other people that have the same problem. I would say that another thing that's interesting to me, if we put the growth on the side, is the intentions. What are the alignment of interests here? The reason the current top 10 websites suck is because they're not aligned with us, the users, right? They're going to put only websites that pay them, and they're going to sort them based on who pays the most, right? That's the way I'm thinking about it. So we need to find a way for this product to be more honest, at least, right? I want it to be, in the best case scenario, totally objective, but if you cannot do that, at least be honest, more honest, and have a complete list of products there, right? So my first idea is maybe you're losing money in the short term, but you're gaining money in the long term because you'll have true users that actually like the platform, and they're like, oh, it's giving me real, tangible, honest reviews and like recommendation. That's one thing, but it's a bit of like a hippie reasoning. So maybe, Tom, you have like a different idea there.
Yeah, so it's kind of like with insurance agents. So my insurance agent knows that she should not offer me anything that she gets kickbacks for, because I'll trust her for the next year and the year after that and the year after that. And for between now and like it's been 6 years since I switched an insurance agent. She keeps getting my yearly fee because she knows that she's not getting that much money from the kickbacks. I feel as if the core premise behind this type of product is truly personalized, feature-based or requirement-based proposals. And by thinking about this like a product that will benefit the users in their next search and not only in their current search. So not like a fight to the death between all the Listicle websites, but somebody will come back to your specific product, not only to search for the best insurance plan, but for their next car or for the next blender or for the next music subscription service. Every time they'll come back to you because they know you are unbiased. You're not getting kickbacks from it. And because everybody knows how the top 10 websites work, yeah, they charge traffic, sure, but they enjoy that. They suffer for a very high lack of reputation. The reputation suffers from it because everybody knows the game. In this case, if you are an impartial buyer, or at least if you are an impartial advisor, or at least you are taking the products that you do affiliate with and kind of promote, and mention specifically that you have a core relationship with the team there and you impact the research and you kind of use the data you have in order to make their product better or offer tiers or discounts or whatever based on your collaboration with them. Unless you have a very deep integration with the company, with like one or two companies, everything else should be impartial because you would be the core benefactor from it.
And I think you're giving us the title of this product, which is your personal product advisor, right? You want advice on what product recommendation you need. This is the place you go to. And I think if we're jumping into like pricing of this thing, I think the thing you could do is say this: I'm not getting affiliate money from this. I'm actually showing the real, unbiased results. But if you want that feature of the 30% for 2 friends, the virality aspect, the word of mouth aspect, that company needs to pay you to just enable that, right? So that's, I think, is more aligned in terms of interest, other than, the top 10 ones were, okay, we're going to pay you X amount of money to show us at the top. So, I really like this. Do you have anything to add, or do you want me to talk about natural intelligence and Google and SEO?
Pricing. This is a subscription product, kind of like ChatGPT. I would assume that now that ChatGPT has solidified the fact that you can pay $20 for a generic AI model, anything that becomes more specific will still be a subscription service in the tens of dollars range. Specifically, this is a consumer product. I would say that if it saves me 3, 4, 5 hours a month of researching tools, then I would pay $50 for it a month for sure. But it might not be like a continuous, every month I'm looking for the best thing. Maybe every few months I'll use it. So maybe also credits, but I would do tens of dollars and perhaps like, I don't know, top up credits for like use whenever you need to research something that's expensive.
And I think
that
you can price it very high, like in a very not costly, but like very high price if you're doing B2B, because B2B customers still need this. I'm just thinking it's a different product.
Let me clarify. I'm talking about the B2C approach. For the B2C approach to all, you gotta also refer it in prices that make sense to consumers. So I would not put like $199 on this tool because most consumers can't buy it. But some consumers can spend $50 1 month and like use the tool for a few months with credits. If it saves them like $200, $300, $400 on the.
I think it also depends on the tool, but I think this is homework for the viewer to decide. Like if you're opening a bank, it's different than opening a cellular, plan. So it's the prices are different. Okay, natural intelligence, SEO, Google. If you're in the SEO game and you're not thinking about this, I think you're doomed to fail in the next 2 to 3 years. I think this is the problem. Users that are typing, what is the best restaurant around my area, are going to get the result inside the search results. They're not going to click links. So if you're doing SEO games, you need to think about this. Now, if we go back to natural intelligence, their game is SEO. That's what they do. So I think if I was in natural intelligence right now, what I would do is the following. I would heavily look into how to influence that AI result. I would research the heck on how Google, the Bard one, ChatGPT, the Bing option, how do they actually generate that conversational result there? And I would try to see how I can impact that. Because back in the old days, it was like backlinks and like SEO and all that stuff. What's the new thing? Like I would try to realize what is affecting the weights of the large language model to get the results there. And I think they're probably looking into this. Tom?
Yeah, so I'm actually very excited about this topic. I've been talking about this for a long while, and it's nice that it's lovely that you formalize this into something that now I can kind of compare to the rest of like history. So let's look at history. We had like newspaper ads, and then radio ads, and then TV ads, and then the internet came along, and you paid for ads, and then there was this new thing where you could get listed organically in search without paying money, right? This is like a new thing that happened, but it's actually the same thing in a different custom. So it's another way to reach customers, but eventually you spend a lot of money on a business because you have to have somebody who understands how to do it, right? But it's the same kind of thing over and over again. And with SEO, we think dying, then trying to SEO the machine learning models responses is very important. I want to have one comment that I think about a lot currently. ChatGPT says that they do not absorb information from the prompts that you give the models. That's what they say. However, I was always under the impression that aside from the labeling, like the thumbs down, thumbs up, which they do use and they tell you they use, but the actual prompts, they say they don't use it. And the code that you upload to Code Interpreter, they say they don't use it. But I'm skeptical. I believe there's some sort of reinforcement coming back from those. I'm not sure if reinforcement is the right term, but like some sort of learning coming from those prompts back into the model. So what I'm saying is somebody should generate a test in which you check en masse if you can influence the search, the generation results of ChatGPT and ChatGPT-like models by prompting them and having other users receive different responses than what you'd expect. Now, I'm pretty sure that OpenAI specifically is a bad candidate for trying that. They're just too robust. But there's so many models out there that are hosted by central unit. Somebody somewhere is going to find a model that can be influenced by the prompts of other users and continuously change the responses. If you can figure out how to get that model, or rather figure out which one of those models is also used by some sort of large company, then you want. And the steps are as following. First and foremost, move from the testing out the model and figuring out whether you can influence other people's results from it. Then figure out if that model is used by any big companies, and then try to figure out how we can use that commercially. Very gray hat, black hatty, but I think that's where the world is going now. So I'm pretty happy about that. But
This is the educational thoughts. It's not the suggestion. We're not liable if you're doing anything against someone's terms. So yeah, it's a pretty cool idea. Okay, let's wrap it up.